that the work of government is efficient, is effective, and is timeous, we will not be able to deliver on that ambitious program. MPP has so many high-quality people, and I've chosen somebody who already has an extensive experience in the high level of governance in our country, who's himself a very renowned economist, was very successful in his first period of office in Ghana, and with his very strong understanding of the budgetary processes, I believe the ideal man to perform this new role that I'm talking about. His very impressive background in his education, and then for the last few years, since we went into opposition, he's been the ranking member on our side on the Committee on Finance. He's also been a member of the Interior and Defense Committees. But in the last years of President Kufuor's government, he was Minister of State, the Minister of Finance, and effectively acted as the Minister for Finance at the end. That knowledge, that understanding of the issues that he has to deal with, I think is there. Come and join me. He's also a Member of Parliament for Old Tafel in Kumasi, senior figure in the Parliament. So we'll have the rank to talk to everybody, fellow members of the Cabinet as well as members of Parliament. So it is Dr. Anthony Akoto Osei, Minister responsible for monitoring and evaluation, will be part of the Office of the President. Thank you. I think in political and constitutional terms, one of the most far-reaching commitments and undertakings that the manifesto, an agenda for change, the 2016 MPP manifesto, has undertaken is the decision to restructure the governance system of our country. We believe that the nearer government comes to the doorsteps of our people, the more efficient and the more satisfactory its outcome. That is why we're insisting on competitive politics in local government. That we're going to create the conditions that would allow district chief executives, mayors, metropolitan chief executives, municipal chief executives, now to be directly elected by the people over whom they're going to govern. And this, by the same token, the process of devolution of power will require that we look again at the regional structures of our country, all with the aim of trying to promote rapid development of Ghana. But the requirements, the constitutional requirements for being able to create a region are very stringent and not easy. Apart from going through the legal requirements of petitioning the Council of State or the President being satisfied that there's a reason, I'm satisfied that there's a reason to create regions in the affected areas. When you come to the consultative process with the people, you're talking about 50% of those who are affected by the decision having to come out to vote. That is the certification that the Electoral Commission has to make, that a minimum of 50% of those in the affected area have to come out to vote. And when the 50% come out, 80% of them must approve the demand for the creation of the region. We're now talking about a major exercise of political mobilization to be able to create a region. It's not by the wave of the pen of the president, which it may have been in days gone by. Now you have to go through this stringent popular consultation. And the 4 regions that we have chosen is those that we want to reshape and create new regions out of them. There are important potentially political obstacles in our path. We're talking about the Western North region, which I committed myself to, and the manifesto also committed itself to. The creation of a region out of the Ahafo region out of Brong Ahafo, another express commitment on my part and backed by the manifesto. The Northern region, in fact, even on the thank you tour that I took there a couple of weeks ago, there was an express demand that there should be a region created out of the Eastern Corridor by the chiefs there and the people there. And then, of course, the Volta region, where there's been a long-standing demand for the creation of the Oti region. For us to be successful, and I think that it is so important for the more efficient governance that we're seeking for Ghana, that we succeed in this effort at creating these regions. For me, it means that the MPP, we have to find amongst ourselves a heavy hitter, a major political figure within ourselves who has extensive experience and capacity in mass mobilization. And I cannot think of anybody better amongst us to perform this task than Damboche. So it's Damboche who's going to be the Minister for Regional Reorganization and Development. And he's going to need the support not just of the cabinet, of the government, but the strong support of the party, its machinery, and to the extent possible, cobbling together all the coalitions necessary to make this thing happen. We've given ourselves a timetable of the middle of next year, 2018, June, July 2018, to go through the processes and involve ourselves in the political mobilization that will make it possible. And I believe if anybody within the MPP has the gift and the capacity to undertake this very, very serious task, is Damboche. So he's the one I'm recommending to Parliament to do that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The next person I'm going to introduce to you is one of the senior figures in our country, a man of high achievement, huge international reputation, and who is coming into politics that he has been the last few years because he believes strongly that Ghana cannot develop properly if people like him sit on the sidelines when important decisions are being made about the future of our country. You can't go into the CV of such a man. It goes on and on and on and on. Professor, you have to come and stand beside me. You all know him. He's a world-famous doctor, the founder of the cardiology department at Kolebu. He's run Kolebu. He's also at the same time an industrialist, a technologist, somebody very much a hands-on person who believes in working with his hands and has a lot of very, very positive and creative ideas about how we can bring science and technology and innovation to the development of our society, to the development of our educational system, to the development of our industries and enterprises. the same token, of course, the protection of our environment is now a matter of great urgency. We can't continue to watch the degradation of our lands and forests that we have witnessed in these last 10, 15 years, and hope to be able to bequeath to the next generation a safe and workable Ghana. So I've invited Professor Kwabena Frimpong-Boateng to come and take on this onerous task as Minister for Environment, Science, Technology, and Innovation. And I have no doubt that 4 years in this office, especially if the money people in our party, in our government, are able to provide him with the relevant resources, we'll see a radical transformation of many of the ways in which we're doing things in Ghana, all for the betterment of our country and for its progress. So he's a man who has been honored by everybody in the world, locally and internationally. He's this man who has come and help my government and the people of Ghana move forward. I think that it's one of the best choices I could have made. Professor. Yeah. We're trying to construct a government of people who are doers, not so much talkers, but doers, people who have track records of achievement and competence in their various areas. The next person I'm introducing to you is a man who has developed well-known speciality both in energy and mining matters. He's one of the co-founders of the ASEP, the African Center for Energy Policy, which has now become a major advocacy voice in the energy industry in our country. He's one of the co-founders of that. He has been involved at the corporate level of many important institutions in our private institutions in the country. And for the last 4 years, well, before President Kufuor's time, was municipal chief executive for the Hohoi district. And in the last 3 years, he has been regional chairman of our party for what has been traditionally the MPP's Waterloo, the Volta region. But I think everybody will agree that this year our performance in the Volta region was much improved. And I believe that a great deal of the thanks and the responsibility for that lies with John Peter Amehu. He's the man that I'm proposing for approval by Parliament as the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. I think he has a solid understanding of the issues there and will make an important contribution in how our natural resources and our lands are exploited for the benefit of our people and their progress. So he's still currently the regional chairman, and if the Parliament refuses to approve him, he'll go back to being regional chairman. Peter, Johnny, thank you. Thank you very much. The next candidate that I put before the House on today's list, I think is somebody peculiarly well suited to the office that she's going to occupy. She's been a strong worker in the NGO community. I believe she was country director for Plan, consultant for Plan Ghana. The Vice President Aliu Muhammad's campaign for discipline. Those of you who remember, she was the national facilitator of that. Very, very much involved in the gender or the women issues that are today so central to the politics and the social discussion of any country. Believes passionately in the equality of the sexes. Never allows me to forget it. Even today, I was the subject of a harangue before I came here about the appointments and the commitments that we have to make to making sure that women get their proper place in everything that we're doing. I believe that she would make a very strong advocate at the highest levels of the state on gender issues, as well as on the protection of the disadvantaged and vulnerable in our society. She's been the woman's leader of our party for the last 2 terms. Proved to be a very dynamic and active campaigner. Hey, Madam. As I say, she's been a very dynamic and active campaigner, very prominent in the last campaign, and her presence on the platform always means that the issues concerning women will definitely be addressed. I think that the opportunity that is being given to her to advance that agenda is one that she will grab with both hands. She has the merit of being one of the very few Ghanaians who's truly polyglot. I don't think there's a language in Ghana other than ever that she doesn't speak. Wala, Dagomba, Dagati, Goja, Krobo, Ga, all of them are at her fingertips. So she's in a position to connect with everybody. So I've sent her name to the Speaker of Parliament to be the Minister for Gender and Social Protection, Children and Social Protection, Otiko Afisa Chaba. We have an ambitious program, especially an industrial program. Believe that the time has come for us to make very significant steps towards the industrialization of Ghana. And it is going to mean that we have to do everything possible to ensure that there is harmony and peace in our relations with organized labor, generally on the labor front. My own belief, strongly held belief, is that we need somebody who's calm and level-headed and who has a good understanding of money, negotiations, he's already had broad experience of government at a high level, was regional minister, I believe in the second term of President Kufuor's government. Recently has been chief whip, deputy chief whip in the parliament. Very significant political figure in the area from which he's coming. And as an accountant, I think the understanding that is required for the negotiations that are bound to come with organized labor is something that he will be able to handle well. So that is the choice that I have made for the Minister for Employment and Labor Relations, is Bafo Ignatius Bafo Koye. The next person that I'm introducing to you is somebody who's brand new to government at the high level. but has an extensive experience already. He is relatively young in the private sector, been involved in as a high-level official in several companies that have worked well. That was his own training, a Bachelor of Commerce degree. He's a very active member of our party. And he's going to bring a lot of dynamism and an energy to the portfolio of the Ministry of Transport. It's an important ministry. I think it requires somebody with dedication and determination and energy. And I see that very much in Kwaku Furiesiama. So he's the person that I've chosen to be Minister for Transport. He's been, even though he's not had any intermediate positions in the party, the Central Region sent him as member of the National Council of our party in one shoot. But I think that he will be able to discharge these functions very, very creditably in an area which requires a lot of organization and work. So, yeah, thank you. In my view, one of the biggest and most profound errors that we, the Ghanaian people and the Ghanaian nation, have made since independence is allowing our railway infrastructure to fall into disrepair, disuse. We had a reasonable infrastructure. Yes, it was colonial in origin as well as in purpose, but at least it was there. And after independence, what we should have done was to have built on it. On the contrary, we watched it go progressively into disuse. And today, effectively, we don't have a railway system in our country. And all over the world, it has been recognized. The rail is probably the most efficient way of ferrying goods and services in any country. It's environmentally very friendly. So we've decided and we made this commitment that we are going to do everything possible to find the money to rebuild our railways in Ghana. And it is going to be one of the important touchstones for determining our success or failure as a government, how far we have gone in the commitment to reviving and re-establishing the railway network of our country. And I'm not just talking Accra to Kosovo, I'm talking Accra to Paga. I'm talking about the completion of the eastern as well as the western railway lines. Because we want, if we're going to be serious about the economic development of our country, we need to open it up. And it's a railway system that is efficient, that connects us to the Sahel, and hopefully will one day connect us to the larger West African railway project that is in view, that is going to be able to do that. I've chosen as a person for the Minister for Railways Development, a person who, first of all, is from the region which is associated with railways. Say the Western region and Takoradi, that's where the railway system is all about. So he's from there. He's a lawyer of considerable standing. He's been Attorney General in President Kufuor's time, one of the 3 or 4 Attorney Generals that there was in Kufuor's time. It's one of them. Several-time Member of Parliament, distinguished lawyer, hard-working person, and somebody who is not going to be intimidated in the negotiations that have to precede the development of the railways. We're going to have to sit down and strike some important agreements if we're going to succeed in pushing forward this agenda of a railway network for the country. So I thought it was a good idea to have somebody who's firm, has clear ideas, cannot be easily be pushed around, and who will understand the legalese involved in these agreements, and also the organizational needs of our country. In Ethiopia, they've recently just built a railway almost exclusively with Ethiopian energy and labor. Unemployment is a big problem in our country. I'm hoping that at the end of the day, the plan that we put before the country is the reconstruction of our railway network, which is going to involve a lot of employment of Ghanaian labor in rebuilding our railways. I think that the temperament that Joe Gatti has, affable, but very firm, friendly, but very, very clear-minded, is exactly the temperament we need for somebody to undertake this big task. So he's the name, the name that I've submitted to Parliament for approval as the Minister for Railways Development. And it's going to be focused 100% on developing our railways. I have the satisfaction of also knowing that he's my young boy. He's he's one of the brilliant young lawyers that passed through my chambers before he became a big man himself. So do that. All of us know that the state of our road infrastructure is a matter of great concern. When you're campaigning, you go to any part of Ghana and you speak to people in their localities, the chiefs, opinion leaders, ordinary people there. The first thing they tell you, Nana, no, all over the country. And that we need to have at the head an effective railway system, a very serious man, somebody with weight, somebody with authority, who's going to be negotiating with all kinds of people to make sure that we improve the road network that we have and have a road network that is fit for purpose, that is fit for a modern, industrializing, emerging country. What we have today, in my view, is not. Despite all the hype about unprecedented infrastructural development, I don't believe that we have a road infrastructure that is fit for purpose. So I have brought as the Minister for Roads and Highways, a man who has had a very successful career in the private sector, high business executive, both as in sales and marketing and logistics, who I think will bring a fresh eye and a good, strong eye to what we need to do to improve the road network of our country. He's the Member of Parliament for Atiwa West. In the eastern region, and is somebody I think we all will be able to trust to be able to do a fair and equitable job as road minister, road and highways minister. He's Mr. Kwesi Amoakwanta. When I was Attorney General, the young woman who I'm going to present as the next candidate was my special assistant. And such success that I had there was due to her and the woman who is now our candidate for Attorney General. I had the privilege of working with two women when I was Attorney General. One is my deputy, the other is my special assistant. And they did I can't say, you use the word yo man, you can't. You have to say, or yo woman. Job. But after the period as special assistant to me as Attorney General, she then went to manage Westel, this communications company, and whose privatization brought into being the company that is now called Airtel. She's therefore extremely familiar with the issues involved in that industry. She's had all kinds of other strings to her bow, masters in conflict, peace, and security from the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, where she was adjudged the best overall student. There's some who would think that is rather unusual for somebody who's so argumentative and disputatious that she should be. But she's a woman of very strong views. I think that it's an industry which has powerful forces at work. The communications industry, the telecom companies in Ghana are very strong, very powerful. I don't have a problem with it. But I think that to have a minister who would have her own mind and not be one who's easily swayed and be overtaken by special interests, for me, I think is the best way we can serve the interests of the people of Ghana. So, another product of Akufo-Addo Prem Code. And being member of Parliament for Ablikuma West for 2 terms. She's the person that I'm proposing to the Parliament to be responsible for communications and the Minister for Communications. Congratulations. A major challenge facing our country and it's national is access to water for our people. Indeed, water for all is one of the slogans of our manifesto, the 2016 manifesto. As much as that is a challenge, equally is the challenge of our environment, sanitation. I think all of us would agree that our surroundings in Ghana and the structures we have for sanitation are not the best, and that they require significant enhancement. Indeed, we also made the slogan, a toilet for all, part of our slogans of the 2016 campaign. So these are matters that we take very seriously. And as a result, I've decided that I need a steady hand, an experienced hand, somebody who's proved to be a good worker, was a successful Minister of Energy in President Kufuor's time. When he was sent to the Minister of Social Welfare and Employment, was extremely influential in crafting the single spine arrangements, and is an achiever and a doer. At the same time, a steady, capable hand. So that for the portfolio of water resources and sanitation, which is a new one, because water resources was originally part of works and housing, and I think that it is better standing with sanitation. I've proposed Kofi-Addo as the minister. The work he did with the National Youth Employment Program is also well known. It led to the creation of some 150,000 jobs. Much of the drawing for that initiative was done by him. So we're talking about somebody who has this capacity. And in the area that he's now going to manage, he will need it, because the task ahead there, access to water, doing something about our environment, giving us that clean, respectable environment that we should have, is not going to be an easy task. But he's agreed to do it. And I believe that he has the capacity to be able to do a good job for us. So he's the Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation, Mr. Akufo-Addo. Finally, the last of the list is a youngish man, very dynamic, who's been put in an area which initially you would not think of as being his natural area. Probably think of him as Attorney General or Minister for Justice. But I think that important public works in this country should have somebody who understands about contracts. Should have somebody who understands about the terms on which public works should be executed. Somebody who would be interested in seeing to it that we have value for money in the public transactions and the public works developments that we have. And therefore would be a very good eye for the Ghanaian people in making sure that important public works that are executed are done on time, are done within budget, and are done solidly, so that we don't have problems about their maintenance and their upkeep soon after they're built. Many of the qualities required to do this, I see it in Samuel Atachia. So he's the person that I'm recommending to Parliament as the Minister for Works and Housing. So, ladies and gentlemen of the media, that is it for today. I have one last note to make, and hopefully tomorrow I'll be ready to engage with you again. I'm very grateful for the way that you have been covering these announcements and the wide publicity that you're giving about them, so that the Ghanaian people have a very clear idea about the type of human beings that are now being brought into government. They have to be reassured that they're getting people who are coming to do a good job for them, and a good job with honesty, with passion, integrity, and with commitment. I believe you're going to see that in the government that we're making. And the individuals that are emerging one by one fit the bill. We're determined to deliver. And I believe that these men and women that are being brought before you are going to do exactly that, deliver. Thank you. May God bless us all.